Thank you for making sure that people can hear me, sir, in the back. I hope y'all can hear me. It's awful because I have the first speech of the day, which I always hate. I like to be right after lunch. Everybody's a little sleepy. I can get away with a bunch of stuff. Some of y'all may even be high, but here we are in the morning. I am the CEO of DNA Genetics, and I believe truly that I have the best job in the cannabis industry. I'm not coming at this as a finance guy. I'm not coming at this as a real estate guy. I'm coming at this as somebody who truly loves this plant and thinks that it has a bright future in the world. It can truly transform the way that we all interact with each other. I do have to tell you about my company, which is why I glided past the legal disclaimer. So what we are is we are the most awarded cannabis company in terms of what we provide in the history of the industry. And a lot of people are new to this industry. We've been in this industry going on 15 years now, as you can see. We are the largest cannabis brand in the world right now, and we say that because of our awareness. We say that because of sort of our social media platform, and we say that because as one of the oldest brands in cannabis, we absolutely have an enormous amount of reach. We have an enormous amount of thought leadership, and we have an enormous amount of responsibility for how this industry progresses going forward. We have a licensing and branding platform. So I'm not up here as an MSO. We're not up here as a retail shop. What we're here as is we're here as someone who is, as one of our founders, Aaron likes to say, is the root of the fruit. Our goal is to provide good IP and to provide a good structural background for what everyone's doing. We will do this a couple of different ways. Again, there's a licensing platform, and we're also going to have some premium cultivation and processing options in California. So we have an asset-light business model, which means that, again, we're not building a bunch of things, but what we are trying to do is we're trying to be the brand that drives what everyone else is doing. I think that a bad analogy, but an apt analogy, is we're sort of the Intel Inside for cannabis. We will work with whoever. We'll work with HP. We'll work with Compaq. We'll work with Dell. Whatever MSO or retailers out there, we will work with them, but we'd like to be able to consider ourselves the drivers of what makes them successful as partners. So our history, the history is not about me at all. The history is about Don and Aaron. So Don and Aaron, DNA does stand for Don and Aaron. It sort of happened to work out that way. Don and Aaron are the founders and namesakes, and they moved from California to Amsterdam in 2003 because they weren't able to do what they wanted to do in California. They were much more able to do it in Amsterdam. And they opened up a Dutch seed shop. It's really amazing. It's on a small, quiet street. People have made pilgrimages there to get the seeds, and ironically, a lot of the seeds and a lot of the strains that people enjoy today came from that seed shop. They started to win awards. They went to multiple Cannabis Cups. There would be situations where if they went to a Cannabis Cup, of the 8 top awards that were given out, 8 of those awards would be DNA strains, even though they were grown by other people. So early on, we have a history of giving people our intellectual property to grow, and then those strains were what propagated throughout the world, and they're known in the industry as DNA strains. If any of you have master growers who work for you, those growers know who we are. The retail folks, the bud tenders know who we are. We're trying to educate everyone in the middle, and we're trying to make sure that it happens without something catastrophic happening at the grows of people who have not gotten to us yet. We think we're going to provide both good genetics and also expertise. Again, we've covered some of these slides already. I kind of want to leave enough room for Q&A. But again, we have a number of different brands. We have a number of different strains that we use. We have a lot of award-winning strains, and we have some of our cups that are listed up here in a spectacularly small font. But, but beyond that, we also have the groups that have recognized us. And some of these are names that are, it's not like we just went to Joe's Pool Hall and won a Cannabis Cup. You know, High Times, the Emerald Cup, Spanibus, Dabadoo, all of these are places that people who know this industry and know what they're talking about have decided that we are the tastemakers. We're the best in the business. And this is, you know, a huge part of what we bring to our partnerships. Want to talk about Don and Aaron again. I mean, you know, they are, when you see these two guys, they are rock stars. I can walk into any grow in America and will not be recognized. Matter of fact, I'll usually be stopped by security. What are you doing here? Who are you? I tell them what I do. They still escort me out. These guys, when they walk in anywhere, specifically grows, folks recognize who they are, and they can point out problems, and they can be listened to, because what folks know is you're going to get a quality product. You're going to get an opportunity to grow the best weed in your territory, and you're going to get an opportunity to have the highest yield in your territory. And what it comes down to right now is most folks are focused on yield, they're focused on grams per square foot, et cetera, et cetera. We think that over time, this industry is going to morph into closer to what the wine industry is in terms of how strains are treated. So no one is really talking about how many, ounces of square feet you can get from a grape. What they're talking about is they're talking about varietals, they're talking about vintages, they're talking about the taste, the mouthfeel, et cetera. Cannabis is all of that, but you layer over a psychoactive effect on top of that such that in certain situations, you're going to be on your couch all night watching Netflix, but having a ball. In other situations, you can write the great American novel, and it's all from this one plant. And most of this has not really been explored because up to this point, cannabis, for the most part, as far as most of us know, in most territories, has been sold as a molecule. If it's an edible, it's a molecule. Up to a certain extent, if it's distillate in a vape cartridge, it's a molecule. And what we're selling is a variated experience, the way that it has been enjoyed for hundreds of years before we got to our present technologically advanced situation. And we're taking it back. We are representing what it has always been. And we actually, in California, which is the most mature market probably in the world, the highest selling category in California is not vapes, is not edibles, it's flower. And that's what we do. We think that's where everyone's going to end up headed as soon as your local regulations allow, and that's already what people are used to doing. So I've given you the company overview, I think. Again, I don't like to speak to slides so much. We're DNA Genetics. We also have a house of brands that we have nurtured over the years. There's the DNA Limited Collection. We just purchased Crockett Family Farms, which brings some amazing strains and amazing IP. We have Reserva Privada. We have something called the DNA Army, which I end up wearing these hats a lot. But that's not just a brand. That is also the group of people who have followed us for years. If there's a QA problem anywhere in the world, we're not necessarily going to hear about it from our partners. We're going to hear about it from the DNA Army. People are going to reach out to us and say, hey, these guys are not growing your product the way that we are used to seeing it. And when that happens, we immediately activate. But think about the grassroots nature of what we're talking about. It's a big deal. And we want to nurture that, and we want to expose that to the world, but most importantly, to our partners. We have a strong media presence. So I'm saying all of to say that when you sign up with us, what you're going to get is you're going to get a brand. And a lot of folks are in here trying to build a brand. We already have a brand. And there's a technical and a non-technical way of saying what I'm about to say. My job is not to screw it up. Please insert other verbs where you need to. But my job is to make sure that we maintain the integrity of this product, and every single partnership that we have, everything we do is about integrity. So mind you, we are very focused on the bottom line. We're focused on reach, we're focused on extension, we're focused on concentration. But at the end of the day, what we're mostly focused on is quality, because we think that's what's going to win. And we're in a situation where people are terrified of our products now. And folks are concerned about what's going to happen. It's far less concerning if you're smoking a plant than if you are smoking or consuming other things of unknown provenance. I just want to remind people of that. So we think that's where everyone's going to end up. And that's the opportunity. The opportunity is to leverage our brand awareness, is to leverage our expertise, is to leverage our authenticity in the marketplace. And Lord knows authenticity is an overused phrase. But in this industry, if you got 15 years in and you're known for producing amazing strains, we have the same authenticity you'll find with a Quicksilver, In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A. That's who we are. We are a regional brand in cannabis, but we are a global brand because our regions just happen to be Amsterdam and California. That's who we are. So to talk about our licensing platform just a little bit, what we do is we go in and we try to work with leaders in every individual territory. We're not working with MSOs. That's not our model. We're not trying to take over 15 different states. What we are doing is we are saying to each partner in every territory that we're working with, we trust you to grow our genetics. We trust you not to screw up our brand. We trust you to work with us to make sure we extend what you're doing and make you the winner in your territory. And so to get that done, we partner with them. We help them with grows. We help to make sure that they're compliant. We help them with QAs. And most importantly, we give them the best strains that we have in the most selected way possible so that they can win their territory. We're going to win everywhere we are, but we're going to win with our partners. Our licensing portfolio, what you'll see here is in yellow. These are the territories that we're already in. We have territories that we're currently in negotiations with. We were asked by various people in the industry to sign up as many territories as we can, as quickly as we can. As I've already explained to you, that's not a route to success for us. We need to make sure that we're with quality partners. And we're fortunate, we've got some amazing partners. Our first partner on a large scale was Canopy Growth. When you see Canada there, that's Canopy. They have been amazing. They have signed with us multiple times. They recognize the value that we bring. They serve as an excellent reference customer. But we're no less focused on any of the rest of our customer base than we are on Canopy. And we will work with anyone we trust and anyone we decide to work with to make them as successful as our relationship with Canopy has been. I'm going to go past our licensing pipeline because I think I already talked about that and it's a little bit technical. We have a full library of genetics. So we have a certain number of strains that are already in the marketplace. As some of you get further up the curve of knowledge, you will understand it's also important to have strains that are non-propagated. So we can give you really, really popular strains that we already have, Tangie, Kosher Kush, LA Confidential, but we can also eventually expose to your market strains that have never been seen before. And when we drop those strains, we're not asking anybody to drop them. We drop them ourselves. They show up on Instagram. People sometimes line up like they're trying to get the new Air Jordans. I mean, it's a situation. And we want to leverage that to make our partners successful. It comes back to our management team. You know, we're only as strong as our people. I don't think I should even really be on this slide. Like I said, I'm just super excited to be here. But we have a very, very strong team. Our VP of Corporate Development is sitting right here, one of the most knowledgeable people in cannabis. He knows more people than I'll know. He's forgotten more than I'll know. But he chose to work here among a number of different opportunities because he believed in what we're talking about, and he also believed in Don and Aaron. And I chose to work here. I used to run business development at Harborside, which some of you guys may have heard of. I left that opportunity to work here. And it wasn't because I felt that there was some amazing financial opportunity here, although frankly I hope there is. But it was mostly because I recognized the power of the brand. It was a brand I had heard of. There were people who are out there with much higher market caps than we have who don't have the reach that we have. So we just need to extend that reach, but it's not a smash and grab. We're trying to do it in a responsible way. So I try to get through this as quickly as possible. I'm not going to hit you guys with a lot of financials or projections, et cetera. But I did want to open it up to Q&A and see if anybody had any questions for me that I can be helpful with. Yes, sir.
How do you protect your IP?
We protect our IP. It varies depending on where we are. For the most part, we're going to do it with trademarks in the United States. We can be a lot more extensive with IP in the rest of the world. What I will tell you is that if you're an IP person, there needs to be sort of a trail, almost a breadcrumb trail, that shows that this has been something that you've done, even in the advance of a legitimate regime that will allow you to protect the IP. And then over time, as you begin to file for trademarks, patents, et cetera, you can show that this is who you've been. And we've got a really good track record of that in the places where we've already signed up, because we can demonstrate that some of these strains, like Kosher Kush, we've been selling Kosher Kush as DNA Kosher Kush forever. If you look at it on Leafly, it's DNA Kosher Kush. So there is a strong documented path that we can get people to agree upon within the industry that the strains that we put out are our strains. And then, you know, we all hope that the gates are going to fall in the United States in the next couple of years. When that happens, we have a strong library that has never seen the light of day that we're going to push. And we're not coming up with new names every day. You know, we're not going to sell you Chocolate Thunder Overkill tomorrow that never has been seen. I mean, we also can leverage strains that have been out there for a long time, and that's our legacy. Yes, sir. We're mostly focused on THC. I mean, we obviously have the ability to come up with feminized seeds in hemp that will work. We've been in conversations with folks about that. We are very, very careful because we think there's a lot of non-variated stuff in hemp. We understand it's a huge deal, but we have focused thus far on psychoactives. So we think that, again, talking about that experience, if we've got a choice between sending you to Safeway grocery store or sending you to Disney World, we'll send you to Disney World. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Are you looking, or is your company looking in particular to maybe partner up with other brands, or more or less like creating? You already have the genetics to create a strand for a particular brand that's kind of thriving in the industry?
The good news is we don't have to create a strain. We already have a strain. So we've got probably 2,000 strains in the bank that have never been seen. So what we would do is we would work with that brand and say, okay, based upon what you've seen in your marketplace, and that's an excellent question. I'm not saying the rest of them weren't. Based on what we've seen in your marketplace, based upon what you can tell us about what people want, folks may want a sativa that has these certain characteristics in terms of terpenes, in terms of CBD profile, in terms of mostly of THC profile, and this is what's selling for you. And we can go back and look at what has a lot of myrcene, what has some limonene, what has some pinene, that we can then introduce into what you're doing that will get you the effect that you want, and then we'll work with you on branding. But having said that, it's not driven by what the partner wants. It's driven by what we think we can support in the marketplace, because every single thing we do has got to work everywhere else. I mean, nothing that we do for you, if we give you Pink Panther and it turns out to not be a good opportunity, it affects our whole brand. We don't have Pink Panther. Yes, sir.
You said that flower was one of the things that wasn't dropping in sales. Was that based only in California, or was that all in North America that you've noticed that projection?
We think that's the case in all of North America. I mean, to be frank, California right now produces 9 times the amount of flower that people can consume in that state. It's going everywhere. I'm from Mississippi. People will not cross the street for Alabama weed, but they will travel hundreds of miles for alleged California weed. So we think that it's what people are already used to smoking. There's arguments that I could make, using my MBA, that will tell me that the reason people haven't done it, it's very, very hard to grow flower. It's exceptionally hard to grow premium flower. I mean, there have been places I've been that I've purchased flower, and it's indistinguishable from oregano, both from a feel standpoint and also from a taste standpoint. And that's not what we do. So if you come to California and you buy our weed, or you buy weed from people we know, it is a mind-blowing experience, not just from a psychoactive standpoint, but also from a taste and feel standpoint. And that's what we want to give to the rest of the world. So we think that people are buying flower. They have not stopped. It's just all in the black market because it's hard for regulated people to sell it. Well, more importantly, it's hard for them to grow it. They could sell it if they could grow it. Anything else? Yes, sir. Aaron runs our R&D. So one of the founders is completely focused on R&D. And what we allocate to R&D is we allocate specialized grows that we have partnerships with who grow the product. Now, having said that, there's not a lot of R&D that we need to do because we've done 15 years of R&D that we still haven't exposed to the marketplace.
What role do you think synthetics will play going forward?
Synthetic what, may I ask? Cannabinoids?
Cannabinoids, flavors, etc.
We cannot discount that they'll play a role, for sure. What I will tell you, though, is it's like asking what role does synthetics play in wine. I mean, you can get synthetic tannins, you can put it in Kool-Aid, but people don't consume it that way. So I think that it will have a role to play, for sure. I think that people will be using cannabinoids for various medical purposes. There will be situations where people are trying to use terpenes even for purposes that are designed to provide psychoactive effects. The disconnect is when you try to figure out how to get to those terpenes when you distill them, that distillation process is one of the problems the industry is facing right now. It just has unforeseen consequences that may be dangerous. So we prefer to stick with what is closest to farm to table.
What about same question but with biosynthesis?
Once again, biosynthesis can work. The plant wants to do what it wants to do. So right now, the most popular fruit in the world is the Cavendish banana. The Cavendish banana is under assault by various fungi that will make it probably extinct within the next 10 years, and we'll all have to switch to a different banana. If Chiquita can't figure it out, I don't know necessarily who's going to do it for various strains in cannabis. Anything else? Well, I'd like to thank you all for your attention, and hopefully your coffee goes well. Thank you very much.